これ本物ですか？
本物です。
これすごいですね。おっぱいも切ったわけですね。
おっぱい切りました。
Issei Sagawa was born on April 26, 1949, in Kobe, Hyogo Prefecture, into a wealthy family. His father, Akira Sagawa, was a businessman who served as president of Kurita Water Industries, and his grandfather was an editor for the Asahi Shimbun newspaper. Born prematurely, Sagawa was so small he could fit in his father's palm. He immediately developed enteritis, an inflammation of the small intestine, but recovered after receiving injections of potassium and calcium in saline. Due to his frail health and introverted nature, Sagawa developed a deep interest in literature. His cannibalistic urges first emerged in the first grade after seeing a male's thigh. In a 2011 interview with Vice, Sagawa admitted to committing bestiality with his dog and harboring cannibalistic fantasies about women during his youth. He attended Wako University and later earned a master's degree in English literature from Kwansei Gakuin University. At the age of 24, while a student at Wako University in Tokyo, Sagawa followed a tall German woman to her apartment and broke in while she was asleep. His plan was to cannibalize her by cutting off a piece of her buttocks, but she woke up and, according to Sagawa, fought him off and pushed him to the ground. He was arrested and charged with attempted rape, but did not reveal his true cannibalistic intentions to the authorities. The legal proceedings were halted after his father made a financial settlement with the victim's family. In 1977, at age 28, Sagawa moved to Paris to pursue a PhD in literature at the Sorbonne. He later stated that during his time there, almost every night I would bring a prostitute home and then try to shoot them, but for some reason my fingers froze up and I couldn't pull the trigger. On June 11, 1981, Issei Sagawa, then 32, lured his Sorbonne classmate Renée Hartevelt, a Dutch woman, to his apartment at 10 Rue Erlanger. He used the pretense of needing help with a poetry translation for a school assignment. Sagawa's intention was to murder and cannibalize her. He had chosen Hartevelt specifically for her health and beauty, qualities he believed he himself lacked. Sagawa described himself as weak, unattractive, and short, standing at 145 centimeters or 4 feet 9 inches, and stated his desire to absorb her energy. Hartevelt was 25 years old and stood 178 centimeters 5 feet 10 inches tall. Once Hartevelt arrived, she sat at a desk and began reading poetry with her back to Sagawa. He then shot her in the back of the neck with a rifle. Sagawa claimed he fainted from the shock of the act, but upon waking, resolved to proceed with his plan. He sexually assaulted her corpse. Finding his teeth were not sharp enough to pierce her skin, he left to purchase a butcher knife. Over the next several days, Sagawa consumed various parts of Hartevelt's body, including most of her breasts, face, buttocks, feet, thighs, and neck. He ate the flesh both raw and cooked. He later admitted to swallowing her clitoris whole, stating this was because she was menstruating at the time and he disliked the smell of the blood. He stored other parts of her body in his refrigerator and took photographs of her corpse at each stage of the consumption process. When the unconsumed remains began to decompose, Sagawa attempted to dispose of them. He packed her dismembered body parts into 2 suitcases and went to the Bois de Boulogne park to dump them in a lake. He was discovered in the act and arrested by French police 4 days after the murder. Sagawa's affluent father hired a lawyer for his defense. After being incarcerated for 2 years awaiting trial, a French judge, Jean-Louis Bruguier, declared Sagawa legally insane and unfit to stand trial. The judge ordered him to be confined indefinitely in a mental institution. Following a visit from the author Inuhiko Yomota, Sagawa's account of the murder was published in Japan in a book titled In the Fog. The publicity and notoriety Sagawa gained in Japan are believed to have influenced the French authorities' decision to deport him to Japan in 1985. Upon his arrival, he was immediately admitted to Matsuzawa Hospital in Tokyo. However, the psychologists who examined him in Japan all declared him to be sane, concluding that his sole motivation for the crime was sexual perversion. Because the charges in France had been dropped and the court documents were sealed, they were not transferred to Japanese authorities. As a result, Japanese law did not permit Sagawa's continued detention. He checked himself out of the hospital on August 12, 1986 and lived as a free man until his death. His subsequent freedom was the subject of widespread condemnation. Following his release in 1986, Issei Sagawa exploited his notoriety for nearly a decade. Between 1986 and 1997, he was frequently sought after as a guest speaker and media commentator. In 1992, he made a cameo appearance in the exploitation film The Bedroom by director Hisayasu Sato. Sagawa authored several books, including his own account of the murder and a commentary on the 1997 Kobe child murders titled Shonen Aipigo. He also contributed restaurant reviews to the Japanese magazine Spa-So. Eventually, his public profile faded, publishers lost interest, and he struggled to secure employment. He was almost hired by a French language school when the manager was impressed by his use of his real name, but the offer was rescinded after employee protests. In 2005, the deaths of Sagawa's parents marked a further decline. He was barred from attending their funeral, but used his remaining resources to settle their debts before relocating to public housing and living on welfare benefits. In a 2011 interview with Vice magazine, Sagawa remarked that the struggle to make a living while being infamous as a murderer and cannibal was a terrible punishment. His health deteriorated significantly in 2013 after a cerebral infarction caused permanent nervous system damage. He subsequently lived alone, requiring daily care from his younger brother or professional caregivers, and at that time claimed to regret his past obsession. Sagawa died on November 24, 2022 at a hospital in Tokyo from complications of pneumonia. He was 73 years old.